Hey, it's Quinn with PTSD while black. I don't know if this is my energy that I'm in or someone else's energy, but I'm just going to talk about it. There's an energy of heartbreak that I am sitting in, and it's like all day today I've kind of been sick to my stomach a little bit. Um, it's the heat. I thought it was the heat out here. Um, but I've been sitting here, I've been singing, I've been trying to warm up my voice to practice some songs. It's like I was singing When I Fall in Love by Nat King Cole. When I fall in love, it will be forever, or I'll never fall in love. And like my heart just got really, really heavy. So I don't know if this is someone else's energy, but maybe it's my own energy. So I was like, let's talk about it. I've always loved that song since I was a little girl. And I had made that like my true love would know that song. My true love would know that song and sing it with me. And I remember when I met my husband, it was one amongst many songs that I gave to him when we first met. And we met at a karaoke bar. And I asked him to learn it, but he has never learned that song. And so I think there's a little bit of heartbreak around it. Because I do love my husband dearly. There's so much joy that we celebrate together and so much growth that happens here. But I think what I'm feeling because of that dream that I had, and I did a live on it a while back, is my values are not being met in my current relationship. And I think I'm going to say that that's the sadness I feel. And maybe I need to grieve that. Because I value honesty, and my husband's someone who kind of gets stuck in his head and will be thinking over a problem and not speaking to his truth or what his needs are. And I need to be around someone for my partner, my love mate, someone who is able to speak to their needs. So I'm learning I need to be someone who speaks to her needs. It starts with me. Everything starts with me. Um Also there was some dishonesty early on in our relationship when my husband and I first got together. He had made me believe that, oh, his ex-girlfriend was this horrible, horrible person, and she was really abusive and da 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 yada 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 yada, but never talking about his own part and stuff. And after we got married, I was doing our banking and I was on his computer because I needed access to his account or something like that. And I'd found these emails between the two of them when I downloaded something from the bank. And it's like she was asking for marriage counseling, or they weren't married, but she was asking them to go to couples counseling and to be honest, what's the next thing that can be done? She was always talking about what are the next solutions. Um and there's even an apology that he had to make because he had lied to her and said that he had graduated college when he had not graduated college. And she threw a party and her friends bought him presents and he accepted those presents. So honesty is so important to me. When I found out about that, I was just livid and hurt, and I had him post about it on Facebook. I was like, that's just ridiculous. How could you lead someone on like that? Um and it was a big blow up in our relationship because everybody had an opinion. But really it's ours, and just for me, I value this honesty, the honesty of what someone has to say. Just to tell the truth. It's okay, you don't need to lie to impress me. um and though she may have had her own issues, I'm like, she looks like somebody, she was wanting to work on things with you, so why didn't you work on them, you know? So there's that, and I need to grieve it. I think I never got a chance to grieve it because shortly after, I think it was like maybe less than a couple months after D-Day and disclosure, was the car accident, and I hurt my neck, my shoulder, my back, blah, 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 blah. I hurt my body really badly. And so I was focusing on my body and not on the feelings that I had about that event, about those issues. I wasn't grieving that. And so I think this is a time for me to grieve the things in love where I have betrayed myself or I haven't spoken up for what my needs are. The other thing is that I love someone with a deep spiritual core, and I really wish that my partner would share more of his. So I need to grieve that. Um I love people who are ambitious and creative and want to work on next projects. They get excited about their projects. And my husband, he's great. He gets ideas and he wants to be gung ho towards something, and then it's all he focuses on, and then he stops completely. And I'm just like, we're the same. We can't be like this because I'll be like, let me collect all the materials to make these things that I'm really interested in, and then I lose focus and I go into the next thing. So I'm like, I need somebody who's also able to like back it up and go, okay, this is our plan and what we're doing. I'm like, yes, I'm down. So I'm just looking at how I need to show up in the relationship. Um, and also the things that I have to let go of, because there's been so many times that I have begged and pleaded and cried for my partner to be a certain way, but he's not. And so I need to still grieve the values that I have that are not being met in my marriage, and to appreciate what is here in my marriage, and to be able to accept that someday different versions of my values will have a chance to appear in our relationship as I focus on being those things for myself. So that's kind of what's coming up. I think I need to take the time to feel the grief and to be okay with it, because my retaliation towards the grief that I had with my partner was to become overworking and focused on projects, being in clubs, being in support groups, doing all these service roles, involved in the church. I was doing marches and protests and da 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 to not deal with my anger, really, to distract myself from my anger. Hey boo boo. So I need to own that. And I just kept so busy all the time. So with this slowing down as a result of the stalking situation, I'm having to face those feelings that I don't think I've allowed myself to address at all. I think that's what's coming up. And I looked at the way that I retaliated after hearing about D-Day with my partner was through spending time with so many other people in different clubs and Toastmasters and things like that, to eventually to the point where I did meet someone that I had a spiritual connection with, and we would go out to coffee all the time. We would go out to club events and speeches and presentations and blah 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 blah, all these things. And I started hanging out with this person more than I was my husband, and that was me being emotionally unfaithful in the relationship. So, um, it's really that I need to look at my part, and I've made my amends with my partner, but I recognize the rest of the amends, besides of the being emotionally unavailable and emotionally unfaithful, is to name what my needs are, to name my boundaries, to name how I will meet my needs, or to come up with him and do a contract on what are our visions and goals in the relationship. Being able to reevaluate, take stock. It's not the 7 of Pentacles, I think. So yeah, that's what I'm really looking at. And so I think this is a time to spend and emotionally grieve the things that were lost. Because honestly, the way my husband and I started dating is a friend told me, hey, I think that guy likes you. So first of all, it wasn't a move on my part, and nor a move on his. And I was like, "Hey, do you want to go out to the beach after karaoke?" And we went to the beach and we walked and we talked and we got, we hit it off, and we like hung out all night and went for breakfast afterwards. Um so it's realizing this wasn't someone that I was actively choosing out of my values, but rather someone who was possibly interested in me and for me to go for it. Because so many times in relationships, I've been the person, I'm like a cave woman. You got to hit me over the head and drag me away to tell me that you love me. Otherwise, I have no fucking clue, right? I have no clue. And I realized, like, in the past, I had infatuation for someone, didn't say anything, watched them be with someone else. Had infatuation with someone, did say something, and he's like, I prefer someone else. And I needed to deal with my feelings with that. And so it was really hard for me to speak up and say, okay, what's available? I just wanted to be my husband's friend. I didn't match him based on my values. Um, and so it was him. He was the one who said, hey, we've been hanging out a long time now. Are we dating? Are we dating? Not, will you date me? And I was like, sure, why not? It's an adventure. I'll give it a try. It's an experiment. Let's go for it. And that's what our relationship has been, is this experiment. And I've been showing up for this experiment. But now I think this experiment has given me the ability to heal romantically and emotionally enough to be aware of what my values are. I think being with my husband has helped me to heal so much, to where I can name what's important to me and to own that it's true for me. And now it's, what do I do about getting those needs fulfilled? And I'm here to learn that lesson too. I'm here for that science experiment as well, versus running out on my own and trying to fulfill those needs with people, places, and things and busyness, and instead to be that love that I need for myself. Because when I take the time, I've seen it every time in my marriage. When I take the time to speak up for my truth, to love myself, it gives my partner a chance to elevate. It gives him a chance to rise. So I guess it's the next calling on my soul, is to accept that these values are real and to be curious about how these values will be met in this relationship, and to be okay if these values aren't met in this relationship, and how else am I meeting those values in my life. So okay, so maybe it was me that was sad. Maybe it was just me that was sad and not some kind of empathic thing of what's going on. And I think that's what happens with me, is that I don't know what's going on within me all the time. And that's why I vlog. That's why I talk it out, because sometimes when talking things out, I'm able to find the solutions that I need. Um so yeah, glad for this revelation, I guess. All right. Till next time. Peace.